Erotic Fantasy versus Sexual Magic. Which tarot deck is the best? We're going to take a look at these two tarot decks and decide which one is the best. You might notice right off the bat that they look an awful lot alike, and that's because they're both produced by Lo Scarabeo, which makes a ton of awesome tarot cards. They all come in these simple tuck boxes with a relatively modest guidebook, which also comes in different languages. So you'll notice flags on the bottom of the deck on both of these. I'm not going to take pictures, or maybe I did take pictures of the guidebook. I can't remember. Just because there's not that much information in there. So you see the guidebook here on this one card, and then inside the box you also have the deck of cards. They're decent cards. They shuffle really well, but there's nothing fancy about them in terms of like gold foil or edging for these particular decks. The fantasy, erotic fantasy, which we're looking at here, it doesn't have any words on the cards, which is why it is international. There is a number and then there's a picture to let you know what suit it goes in. So that's the Eight of Wands and the Ace of Cups. If you're new to tarot, this can be a little bit challenging. Notice also that these are borderless. The illustration goes right up to the edge. They were made in 2020, and they are a more modern kind of look and feel to the style of the cards because they were produced more recently. And then I did choose the more PC or, PG-13 type cards to feature here, but the fantasy deck has more fantasy art, imaginary. And then the sexual magic we're looking at now, by comparison, it's very similar tuck box with the cards and the booklet. Notice already on the back of the cards that there is a border that's designed around them. These were made in 2009, and I do have the name of the authors and the artists in the description box below, but I'm horrible at pronouncing people's names, so I've just kind of given up the descriptions. Here you'll see that the cards have words on the front, so they're a little bit easier if you're a beginner, and they are written in multiple languages. So English is the upper left hand. That's where the English is. So if you're learning another language, that's kind of a little perk there. And here's a detail of the illustrations. They are more like normal clothing in a sense than the fantasy ones, which are complete, in some places kind of like complete fantasy, versus like this guy looks like he's wearing a like a collared shirt, and she might have a sundress on. He's not dressed up like in some sci-fi fantasy. It is romantic. Here you can see them side by side, and you can kind of get a sense of more of the fantasy cosplay type imagery on the left, and the more like kind of romantic historical imagery on the right of these two cards. So I'm curious which one you would buy, which one you think is best and why. And of course, when I ask the question, which deck is the best, it's always going to be the one you choose, and obviously I have both. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the review, and check out some of the other ones. And hopefully you can find more cards that you love.